Thank you for joining me on this small project. I dropped some stuff around to my friend the other day and she gave me this and some fabric that I've already used on scatter cushions. It's a pincushion chair. I did sit in it and it's a bit uncomfortable at the front here. I might have to replace the foam or do something else inside, but I'm not sure until I get in there. So let's get on with it. This is the underside of the chair, and technically I don't need to take it off because I'm not working from under here. I will, however, remove it and replace it when I've finished. What I'm going to do is just cut this to start off with, all the way around, and then I can take the top off. These people glued the foam to the top of this frame. I know why, because they glued it down and into shape, and then they could fold the fabric up and pulled into place. So I kind of cheated. It's going to be a mess to get off. It'll take me a while to pull all of this back. They also glued this on, which I'm going to remove as well. They used rubberized webs. They went up and down and across. This one's already given. I'm going to have to take all of this off. I'm worried about the front here. Basically, I'm popping my tack remover here, and then as I pull the staple out, I'm putting my thumbnail across the top of the wood so that the tack remover won't go far enough down to pull the wood out of place. A couple of taps and then my thumbnail in place, and then pull the staple right out and move to the next staple, and that should mean that there's no damage. And then I'll get a scraper, probably got a paint scraper somewhere, just to roll that up and get rid of some of it. It does not need to be there. It'll take me a little while to clear all this up. I've placed some wrapping paper underneath it, and I am going to draw around the outside of the seat here. I haven't got the webbing on yet. I decided to do this before I did that. I'll get that part done at the back, which goes here. I've cut the pattern out and I folded it in half, which was perfect, and because I'd managed to get some of the back in, I just cut both sides together. It should be okay. I've got some foam here and I am going to lay my pattern down and put some pins in. Now I'm using dressmaking pins because they've got nice round tops to them. I'm going to put it in like this. Once it's in position, I am going to draw around the pattern like this. The leg actually goes in here, but I'll sort that out in a minute because I don't want to take too much out of where the leg is, just in case it crunches down too much. I am going to use a serrated bread knife and I'm going to cut it down so it's perpendicular to the line. And I'm going to do this very evenly, cut it on the downstroke. And if you make sure that the foam is close to a flat surface, it shouldn't twist too much. I'm going to do this all the way around. It won't matter if it's a little bit wonky because I'm going to be putting Dacron on it. It's slightly oversized for the seat. I've got to where the leg is and I'm just going to carry on a little ways to the back like that and then across. Should give me plenty of foam there to mess with in the back of the chair. I webbed from the back to the front and I fanned it, so at the back it's nice and tight in and then it fans out more or less equally. The front web going across misses the corner of this chair leg, as that would cause a weakness and it would eventually fray. I put the back in there and now I'm just going to pull this one in. I do have a problem, and the problem is the chair is a funny shape. So I could pull it in using the web stretcher at a funny angle. Sometimes works. The other way to do it is you put it in a bit lower and you take it underneath the chair. You do have to adjust it so it fits under there. So now I'm going to pop this under here, let it out a little bit more underneath, and make sure that it is even, and use the bottom of the chair rail to bring it in. When it's tight enough like that, I always test it, I'm going to staple it in. Always weave your webbing. If one of these webs goes, the others will hold the rest of the chair into position. Fold that over. The staples at the bottom hold it in, but this stops any of it fraying and pulling apart. I'm putting this fabric over the top. I'm going to start at the back and pull it forward. I'm going to pull that over just a little bit like that so that it can't fray. I'm putting this in place so that the foam won't get cut and go through the webbing. And now work to the other side. I'm pulling it to the front as hard as I can, and then I'll pull it either side. I'll cut it and then fold the fabric over. Now I'm going to try to put this in. Push that in. I didn't want to cut it around the chair leg because you often get that wrong. I find that if I cut in at an angle like that, I usually get the shaping I want. So that fits there all the way around nice and evenly. The dacron I'm just going to overcut into a loose shape. That would just pull on round and into place. Before I put this in, I'm just going to cut there to the corner, so that goes either side like that and down, and the same on this side too. That holds everything in position. I have my fabric here. I've marked the center front and the center back. This fold mark here will disappear as I pull everything into position. Pop that under there, so I've got a starting point. Pull this down slightly and cut across the top of the wood, so basically underneath the foam, so that it's not too bulky as I take that into position. Now my mark here can line up, there's a circle right here, so I'm going to line that up with that. I'm not going to pull it in, I'm just going to put a stabilising staple there so that I can pull it towards the back. Again at the back, I'm just going to do this across here. I might need to put a little bit more filler in there. I won't know until I get there. This pulls all the way down to the back. Looking at the line coming down here, I'm right where it needs to be. When I pull it in, I can feel at my fingertips where the rail is, so I'm going to go above that. At the moment, I'm just pulling it down here. Feel where the top of the ridge is and staple it. I can see how the roll of the top is going, and it looks like it's going to go in quite evenly. And again. Then I'm going to work towards the side. Again, just bringing it down and trying to make it look even. I might have to let that one out, but I'll check before I cut back. And another one here and here. Just remove this staple, pulling it down and pulling it into place quite firmly. There's the ridge top there. Bring that down and hold it. And then I'm going to bring it on round here and into shape. Now this is going to take me a little while because this is a little bit awkward to get everything in. I'm going to push the dacron up a little bit so I don't have quite so much to remove later. And then on round until it looks quite smooth along here. I will have some that I have to release or pull in a little tighter, but I'll do that when I double check everything. And at the moment I'm just pulling it down. I've stopped pulling it down here at the side of the chair leg because this is going to pull in and be folded. Looking along here, this is going to have to come out and just slightly pull down to even it out. Here again, pushing that up, pulling it down and securing it. And I'll make my way all the way to the other chair leg here. If you've got a chair like this, don't go below the ridge because you're going to ruin the frame. Then I've stabilised the fabric front to back, which means it'll be easier to pull in on the sides. On the sides, cut the dacron to the base of the foam and go straight to the front like that. Don't bother shaping it. I'll do the same on the other side. Because the side of the chair leg goes at an angle, I have to adjust the angle I'm cutting this at. Usually I go at 45 degrees, but I need to make sure that it will go around, which it will. I'm just going to cut down into there a little bit better than that way. Now that should go down there, and twist that, and that will go into there too. Perfect. Don't cut too far in on these because they do vary, and you want to be able to push enough fabric down so it actually holds. Push that down and into there too. Always twist the fabric underneath. I've folded that down and into place. I'm going to pull that right hard back into the corner here. I'm not going to put it into the corner just yet, I'm just going to put it there. I'm not going to pull it back, I'm just going to pull it down so it goes into position. I can put that back in there, I think that's going to work. I don't think I need to alter that. It's just it's very awkward to get the staple out of there. There we go, perfect. And then on round. Just going to try to keep it as even as I can. I'm trying to follow the line here. It's like an invisible line, but that's the one I'm trying to follow. And it should start twisting down like that and into place. Keep forgetting to push that up. I will come back and alter these in a minute. I always seem to put everything in twice. I'll get so far and then I'll start pulling it down. There. The staples going up, which I don't really want. If I bring that here and in, I'll be able to pull that in. This will come into shape here. I'm going to bring this in at the back here. Take these few out and smooth it in. So I'm going to bring this down slightly across the front, just a little bit like that, and secure. I'm just going to cut all of this back along here, so it's along the top of the chair frame. I'm going to take that up a little bit higher because I really don't want any of that showing at the front, so it's nicely taken up. And push everything back and then fold this along this corner and down and into place. I might need to roll that just slightly. Sometimes it takes a little while to get in. I think that will work. So I'm going to staple this in and then along here. That's a nice corner. I don't think I need to change anything along here, so I'm going to cut it all back. Now I cut the piping 2 inches wide. I've got 2 ends here. Pop both pieces like that, and then under. I think I'll do it that way today because this fabric has like a rubber backing on it and it's a little bit awkward to control. Fold that underneath. I'm going to make sure that those are running side by side. That's the other thing, they do tend to swap. And I'm going to sew it into position on the longest stitch. Make sure that your piping doesn't swap places. Keep it relatively tight and even, and work to the end of your length of fabric. I've kind of measured how much I need, so it should be easy to determine when I'm at the end. I cut back the extra fabric off the back of the double piping. Cut that back so it's nice and firm. I'm thinking I might just be able to pop it hard in there without messing with it. I think that will work. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue over the edge there and then a little ways down here like this. And then I'm going to pop that in to place, as long as it's level with the top there, and then all the way to the end. It's like I've got a little bit to take off at the end here. Perfect. It's a bit lumpy on that end, but it has gone in straight, and that's the main thing. It's going to be a little bit easier to hide the end on this side because it actually pops in behind the leg. I think I'll do it this way, like that, and then into place. Push that hard into the end there and across, and I'll make my way all the way around the chair so it's all in place. I can get rid of those little bits in a minute. I'll go around and take them off. That will give a nice clean look. There we go. Perfect. A little bit towards the front so it's nice and tight as it goes around the corner, because you don't want it popping out anywhere. So I'm going to pop a little bit of glue actually on the trim. Hold that back and then push that into position. There we go. Once that's in, I'll carry on along here. I am pleased with the way this is turning out. Thank you for joining me on this project. It didn't take very long as such. Once I had taken everything off, the trim there looks very plain but sleek, and I'm sure my friend is going to enjoy her new chair. If you'd like to see more from me, please subscribe, hit the bell button, and a few thumbs up would be brilliant. And in the meantime, take care. See you later. Ciao.